NBC 15 News at 10 starts now.
Now 10, an officer is injured in a shootout after authorities say he tracked down a suspect who had stolen a luxury car from an auto dealership. Plus, amid a federal investigation, Hillary Clinton releases more information pertaining to her finances. And bikers across the nation are heading to South Dakota, how one Wisconsin-based business is benefiting. Good Saturday evening, everyone. I'm Zach Nugent. We start with a Crime Tracker 15 report as police investigate a shooting that left a Milwaukee County police officer injured this afternoon. In our continuing coverage tonight, the piece of a wing flap found on an Indian Ocean island and suspected to be from the missing Malaysian Airlines Flight 370 has arrived at the lab in France where it will be analyzed. But first tonight, we are following breaking news. This evening, just before 7 p.m., a possibly armed suspect called Dane County Communications saying he had a gun. He told dispatchers he was inside the Helen C. White Library on UW's campus. Lisa, thank you. We have new details tonight in the state budget. Governor Scott Walker says he and GOP legislative leaders have agreed to completely remove a part of the proposed state budget that would restrict open records laws. But first, our continuing coverage of the state budget. Good evening. I'm Zach Nugent, in for John and Lee. The $70 billion budget will move on to the legislature. Closer to home, in a Crime Tracker 15 alert, a man was taken to the Dane County Jail after causing a disturbance at a restaurant on the 100 block of State Street. On Tuesday evening, a man was crawling around in the restaurant doorway and refused to leave. In tonight's White House Watch, we also caught up with Governor Walker at the Menominee Falls 4th of July parade. He spoke about his anticipated presidential announcement in just a few weeks. Finally, some real summer-like weather, so if you want to get in the pool tomorrow for the 4th of July.
The water's been a little chilly this year.
It has been. All right, well, you had a lot of stars and stripes on your graphics, and normally they don't come in shades of green unless you're this Minnesota resident.
We learned a lot today about the investigation into Tony Robinson's death.
He was killed March 6th by Officer Matt Kenny, who will not be charged in the case. NBC 15's Zach Nugent joins us to break down what we've learned about how that night unfolded. Zach?
John Aline, this afternoon, we not only heard from the DA, but we received dozens of documents, photos, and videos from the Department of Justice. From the time officers arrived on scene to the time of the shooting, it all happened in less than 2 minutes.
I begin with the known undisputed facts.
Leading to the announcement that charges will not be filed against Officer Matt Kinney, the Dane County DA described the evidence he's been poring over, including what led to officers being dispatched.
There were 3 911 calls within 5 minutes prior to Officer Kinney's arrival on the scene.
One of them came from a friend of Tony's who lived at the Willie Street apartment.
It was reported Tony was tweaking, chasing everybody, and is really outrageous right now. The caller and his girlfriend are scared.
We also got a better idea of what the DA used to reach his decision as the Department of Justice released a summary of its investigation. This included numerous pictures, surveillance footage, and dash cam video.
From the video, it does not appear as if Officer Kinney had to open the door.
Video released by the DOJ shows that the whole scenario, from Kinney entering the house to the actual shooting, happened in seconds.
Officer Kinney is inside the residence for approximately 20 seconds before he reappears exiting the residence in a backwards motion, appearing to almost lose his balance. At this time, he is seen firing 1 shot while outside the residence.
6 more followed, all in about 3 seconds. Now, the Department of Justice has made its case file public, and it is available to view online. We have a link to those documents on our website. Just go to NBC15.com and click on News Links.
NBC 15's Zach Nugent joins us with a recap of the rally and the protests. Zach.
Yeah, John, Capitol Police estimate the crowd was about as big as it was yesterday, with 1,800 to 2,000 at the Capitol around the noon hour. The message they're hoping lawmakers will hear: they don't support right-to-work legislation.
Everything about right to work is a lie.
Nurses don't want this bill.
Today's rally had a little added anger as union workers and supporters once again stood shoulder to shoulder in front of the Capitol. They voiced concerns about the legislation and that last night's public hearing was cut short by a half hour after GOP leaders cited a credible threat.
So I am here today because I will not be silenced. We will not be silenced.
Some fear the effects right-to-work legislation would have on union finance training.
If unions can't help subsidize worker training, who's going to pay for that? Taxpayers are going to have to pay for that.
We're afraid that these other companies who aren't properly trained, aren't, recommended to be trained, come in and makes it unsafe for workers like us.
Many rally-goers agree they may be fighting a losing battle, and they recognize right to work may very well pass.
I believe that it's a foregone conclusion, and I'm here just to say we're watching. I mean, you can try to shut us out and you can silence our voice, but that doesn't mean that what you're doing is right, and it doesn't mean that you're speaking on behalf of the people.
We're going to do the best we can, and after that we'll keep fighting, and if it means going on and having to vote in the upcoming elections to get some of these people out, then that's what's going to happen.
But their goal is to be heard. Whether lawmakers will listen or not.
We're not gonna sit at home and watch on TV as they take our rights away.
And Capitol Police did say 4 people were arrested this afternoon in the Rotunda area.
Good Monday afternoon. I'm Lee Mills.
And I'm John Stofflet. New at 5, technology originally designed to study homes and health with UW's School of Nursing is now being used at crime scenes.
NBC 15's Zach Nugent shows us how researchers at the Wisconsin Institute for Discovery are hoping they can make some of the most complicated crime investigations more efficient.
When an officer tries to reconstruct a crime scene, they take it with photographs, they'll put down some kind of reference marker, and it's very, very time consuming.
But this device has the potential to change that. It's a 3D scanner, and until researchers at UW-Madison were approached by law enforcement about a year and a half ago, they never considered how useful this technology could be at crime scenes.
Basically, you set the scanner up on a tripod, and it rotates around rapidly for anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes.
Collecting 11 to 45 million data points in that time.
You do that several times in a row throughout an environment, and then you can later place all those individual scans together in a what we call through a process called registration, which then gives you a cohesive 3D model.
This is called the cave, and this is where the 3D scans really come to life. I can walk through here, put on these 3D glasses, and actually get a real-life feeling of the scans that were taken.
Essentially, with the technology, you can recreate any 3D environment that exists.
Researchers at the Living Environments Lab are currently partnering with the Dane County Sheriff's Office to apply for grants. They're looking to expand this technology. They say it won't just help investigators save time, but it may help improve accuracy.
So via 3D scanning, we can actually reconstruct these crime scenes in a way that we can leave them undisturbed. We can just go in and anyone can see them, and you don't have to worry about tripping over things, about messing up evidence or anything like that.
In Madison, Zach Nugent, NBC 15 News.
Researchers say it's not just crime scenes. 3D scanning technology could also be beneficial for insurance claim situations, even when planning for aftercare following a patient's release from the hospital.